Hi everybody, what's up? This is Jordy with Gun Tradition. How you guys doing today? I'm out here in my hunting woods, my deer hunting area, and I brought with me my deer hunting rifle. This is my AR chambered in 7.62x39. Now I know that this caliber 7.62x39 gets a lot of hate by us in the US, mainly because this caliber is the calling card of communists across the world, and I can see that. They got it coming to them. But is it or is it not a good choice for deer hunting? I mean, I made my choice, and this actually is my choice for my deer hunting rifle. This past year, I sold a couple Molesons, I sold my 308, I sold my 30-30, and I got this, my 7.62x39. It is a viable deer hunting round. It's actually quite equivalent to the old school 30-30. Now, before you old timers out there blow your caps off at me, just hear me out, and I'll explain just why that is. The 7.62x39 is a close-range hunting cartridge, very similar to the 30-30. They both have a maximum effective range for deer hunting of about 200 yards, and that's just because that's the limitations of the bullet designs and of the pressures that you can get in the cartridge. That's just, it is what it is. 7.62x39 at 200 yards has a little bit under 1,000 foot-pounds of energy left. Around 950 plus or minus. And that is pretty much the bottom rung for deer hunting power to make a good shot in some of the unfavorable hunting conditions. Past that point, you just get too much wind play. You get too much increase in drop all at once. There's too much of a sharp drop off. You're losing too much power. You just don't get penetration at past that point. So 200 yards. Up to 200 yards, this is a very good option. Now, for some of you guys, 200 yards doesn't sound like a very far distance. I've been out to some of the, out west, down to some of the plain states, where 400, 500 yards is nothing for a hunting shot. But really, very seldom do you need to take a shot more than 200 yards for most situations in most hunting areas. Out here in Michigan, if I'm hunting the big farm fields, which we do have a lot of, well, I can get a couple 100-yard shots out there. But here in the woods, the farthest I can get is 80 to 100 yards, and that's stretching it. That's most areas I don't get more than about a 40 to a 60-yard shot. It's hard to find a 100-yard shot through the woods because there's trees and stuff in the way. So the 7.62x39, it is a 7.62 or 30 caliber. It's the same caliber as the 308, slightly different technical dimension on the bullets as far as diameter, but it's a 30 caliber, and the average weight of the bullet is about 123 grains, between 122 and 125 grains. Most hunting bullets, 123 grains. There's not a whole lot of wide options out there, but pretty much all the major ammo manufacturers do make good hunting rounds for deer and even for varmints in the 7.62x39. One of my favorites is the Winchester Deer Season XP. I know Hornady and Nosler, they both load varmint rounds for this caliber that will really work great on varmints out to 200 yards until you get out below about 1,600 feet per second on the velocity of the bullet. But as far as your deer hunting round, something like a Deer Season XP, ooh, mosquito. This is also a great option for smaller framed individuals, like myself. Sorry, it's true, I'm a really small guy. I'm 150 pounds, all right? This is a great option for smaller framed individuals, women and children, youth shooters, people who don't want to handle a large, heavy gun and a lot of recoil. Recoil on these things, you might be thinking like the SKS and the AK-47 and think they're hard, heavy recoiling, heavy hitting guns. Not really. The average recoil you're going to get on the 7.62x39 is between 7 and 9 foot-pounds of energy, which is a significant step down from the 30-30. The 30-30, which everybody says is a youth gun, is more like 10, 11, even 12 pounds of felt recoil out of the 30-30. I shot my dad's 30-30 when I was a kid, and that thing, his old Marlin, that thing just felt like it hit hard. For a little kid, it did hit hard. I didn't really enjoy shooting it, but this feels nothing like that. It's just a soft shooter, especially in the AR platform, which makes the recoiling a little less yet Unfortunately, I have yet to find a 30-30 in an AR platform. Would be cool, but apparently nobody's been able to do that with a nice detachable magazine. So it's a great option for youth, and it's a great option for adult hunters too. I mean, why do I want to punish my shoulder with more recoil? I don't need a 30-06 or a 270 or even a 308 because I don't need to shoot 400 yards and hit a deer. 150 yards is honestly almost unheard of where I hunt. We just don't get that far. I can always get a deer in within 100 yards of where I'm hunting. Now the sectional density of the 7.6239, these things, I got my steel casers right there. Sectional density is a little low with these, which means it's not going to penetrate very well, especially once it starts losing energy. Fortunately, pretty much everything is good until you hit about 200 yards. That's when all of a sudden it takes a roller coaster dip and it just goes down in velocity and energy and power, and it's just no good after that anyways. But up to 200 yards, you're golden and good to go. So I've really been doing my research here about just what large game animals the 7.6239 is actually functional for. I've been talking with the industry experts, everybody I can get a hold of, anybody who I can find a phone number to call, ammo companies, anybody I can get a hold of. And I've got some good numbers here to work with. So just how much energy and penetration do you need for these large game animals? Well, for a deer, you only need to have about 13 to 15 inches of penetration for a good broadside shot. Unfortunately, you don't always have a good perfect broadside shot. You often have a little bit of an angle shot. You need more penetration than that. As far as energy of the bullet, if you're using anything from a 25 to a 35 caliber bullet that has at least 900 foot-pounds of energy, you will get enough penetration pretty much every time, no concerns about that. You'll get enough penetration to get a full pass through on a deer, even at a bad shot angle or a somewhat less ideal shot angle. Now if we're going up one size bigger in animals, one class larger, let's talk black bear. We're not saying grizzlies or the Kodiaks or the polar bears or koala bears. We're talking black bears. The average black bear is about 250 to 350 pounds. They can get bigger, sure, but that's the average. Now, for those animals, they like to have about 1,000 foot-pounds of energy in a bullet between 270 and 35 caliber. If you have 1,000 foot-pounds of energy, you will not have a problem making any type of a shot within the lung and heart region of a bear. You should expect a full pass-through at that point. Breaking ribs and a full pass-through. You'll also be able to shatter the shoulder of a black bear with that much energy. And how about elk? What about elk? I mean, elk have a large variety, a large variation in size that they can have. But for the most part, your average elk, you'd figure maybe 600-700 pounds. It's a pretty good size. So I know they can get bigger, but right now we're talking about more your averages. So your average elk about 600-700 pounds. The experts and the guiding services all kind of have a standard that they go by. You need at least 1,200 foot-pounds of energy. And once again, the 270 to 35 caliber bullets to make a good shot, a full pass through in the vitals on an elk at all applicable hunting shot angles. So at 200 yards, your average hunting rounds in the 7.6239 is going to have about 950 foot-pounds of energy. Now that's more than enough for the deer because we're above that 900-pound mark. But it's a little bit low for your black bears. It's not quite to 1,000. I mean, it'd probably work, but let's just say for deer, 200 yards is great. If you're talking more black bears, keep it to 100 yards, maybe 150. Now, if you're going to elk, that 1,200 foot-pounds mark, that's kind of the industry standard minimum, 1,200 foot-pounds of energy to make a good shot on an elk. You've got that at 100 yards yet. The 7.62x39 starts out at just under 2,000 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle, and at 100 yards, it's got about 1,400 foot-pounds of energy left with most common hunting loads. So at 100 yards, it's still plenty powerful enough, and a 30 caliber bullet, so it's still a good choice for your average elk at up to 100 yards. Elk and black bears, 100 yards, your deer, antelopes, up to 200 yards. If you watch this video, you're probably going to be interested in my next video where I run a comparison of the 76239 and the 3030. It gets very in-depth, a lot of good technical information and practical application. So go ahead and check that out next. I'll catch you guys later. Don't forget to click the like button and look around for more good information on the videos. Bye now.